What is up, everyone? Circon here, bringing you guys another review of another Tier 8 premium today. The Somua SM, the Tier 8 French premium heavy tank, the auto-loading one. There's also a single-shot one, but today we're going to talk about the auto-loading one. So let's just get right into it and see what's good about it, what's not. I'll also compare it to the Lorraine, and at the end of the video, I'll also show you a replay of mine where I hope to kind of showcase the tank in some way that is will be helpful to you guys if you want to, if you're looking to buy it or something like that, or you're just curious about how the tank works, right? So, what do we got? We got 2000 DPM, which is actually pretty high, because again, it's an autoloader, which tend to have less DPM because they sacrifice DPM for having to clip magazines. But 2000 base DPM is actually really, really good. And the reason for this is that it has a really good reload time for 5 shots. So the Lorraine that came out before this had a 4-shot clip with the same reload. So the DPM is like 1600, 1700-ish. The other really nice thing that's very un-French, or used to be very un-French for the heavies, and they now got buffed. But they used to have really bad gun depression. This thing has an epic 10 degrees of gun depression, which is really, 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 really nice. It has 1000 base AP shell velocity, which is also really nice. And it has APCR ammo that's even faster, obviously, with 1250 meters a second with 263 pen. Now, obviously, I shouldn't have to say this. This does not get preferential matchmaking. It has 232 base pen on the AP and over 600 on the APCR and even 50 on the HE. But spoiler alert, you should basically not take HE on this because you're never going to load it ever because of the whole auto-loading mechanic. So yeah. It has a top speed of 37, which is very normal for a tier 8 heavy. Nothing super crazy here. So it is fairly sluggish to get to the where you need it to be. And for a heavy tank, as you're used to with French tanks, they don't have a lot of armor. But this one isn't actually that bad. It has, like if you look at the paper stats, 140 hull, 90 side, which is huge, and even 70 in the back. And the turret is 120, 60, 60. So in terms of how that actually looks like when you have the tank in front of you, it's about 200 upper plate. That's actually really, really good because it's sloped really well. And that is pretty good because a lot of tanks that you'll be fighting, if you're actually top tier, you will actually bounce quite a bit on the hull here because even the lower plate is not actually that weak. So once you start angling a little bit, if people start snapshotting you and hit center mass, they tend to hit like the top of your hull or like around this area. So your turret and your hull kind of combine here to have, pretty 210-ish millimeters of armor, which is actually really, really nice, surprisingly good. And once you start finding some of the tier 6s and the tier 7s, you'll most likely see more tier 7s than you will tier 6s. You're not going to be top tier a lot. Let's face it, tier 8 matchmaking is not that good. At least currently, I'm doing this review in patch 1.2, so that might change, I don't know. But it actually holds up fairly well, especially against medium tanks of tier 7, some of the heavy tanks of tier 7. For example, the IS, the 122mm cannon that you'll see a lot, has 175 base pen or 180 or so, and that's just not enough to get through the hull. And they actually have to aim kind of for your turret, but your turret is also surprisingly well armored. Will it stop tier 9s and 10s, or even tier 7 and tier 8 TDs? Not really. Will you still get surprise bounces every once in a while against those vehicles? Sure. Can you still side scrape in this thing? Actually, you can, which is also surprising with the 90 hull armor. That's like 40 more than the Caravan Action X, for example. And people don't really expect it, and people think that you're a paper tank, and they will actually try to just shoot your angled sides as you're side scraping a little bit, which you can always kind of try and do to at least maximize your armor. But you can see that your effective armor, whilst you're peeking, they have to really hit your upper hull here. And like the only thing you have to be worried about is that they're gonna shoot through your through your tracks basically. But a lot of the times your tracks will absorb something because they're fairly big. So armor wise, it's actually surprisingly good as well. So the only real downside you have is that it's not very fast. But then again, your opponent will be a tier 8 heavy as well, and those tend to not be fast either. So it's actually pretty decent. So a lot of people, when I was playing this tank, are asking, what would you rather play, the Samoa or the Lorraine 40T? So if we just compare them really quickly, obviously the Lorraine has 1 shot less per clip and has a slightly slower reload, but it has 4 shots versus 5, which is a big deal. This is why the DPM is so much lower. And then aim time wise, the Samoa has 2.3, which is ridiculously good for the gun that it has, right? It's 100 mil, really good gun handling, and it has 2.3 aiming time, which is really, really nice. It does, however, have worse dispersion, which feels a little bit awkward, and worse gun handling during turret traverse. And the Lorraine has 8 degrees of gun depression, where the Samoa has 10. Again, the 8 is still perfectly workable, but this is the big thing, of course. The Lorraine, having absolutely no armor, has a lot of speed. It goes 6 kilometers an hour, it goes 23 kilometers backwards, it has power to weight that is, well, not exactly double, but it's a whole lot better than Somua SM, and of course it should be, right? And also the trim assists are a lot better, turret defense is a lot better, tank defense is a lot better, and actually the effective tank defense on medium and soft ground is slightly worse, but it doesn't really matter, right? We have so much more power to weight. And in terms of what I would recommend playing, it also depends on what you're playing in the tech tree, like and what purpose do you have it. If you have a really good heavy tank crew that you have in like a 5120 or 50B maybe, then you should definitely get a Somua SM and not a Lorraine, right? But if you're purely looking at this from a tank to tank standpoint, I think the Lorraine is still a lot better. Because tier 8 matchmaking is so bad, you're better off having a fast tank with the same kind of gun than having a slow tank with a little bit more armor. Because the armor doesn't matter in most matchmakings that you will get. The DPM can be a big deal, but I find myself being able to shoot a whole lot more in my Lorraine games than I ever did with most of my Somua SM games. Now, will there be outliers? Of course. If you get like a small map or something, and you face a lot of tier 7s, the Samoa will actually will be a lot better. But the Lorraine just does a lot better in +2 matchmaking. And for my own aggressive playstyle, how I play World of Tanks, just purely looking at the tanks themselves, I think the Lorraine is definitely the tank for me. But I think a lot of people probably watching this video might do better than Somua SM. But do please keep in mind that you need a pretty decent crew to make this work. Because it only has 370 free range, you will need a decent crew to get your free range up to par, right? And the commander, driver, gunner, radio man, loadout, and they're all three are of them are loaders as well. So at least the radio man is separate from the commander, which kind of lowers the XP requirements on your crew to have all the free range memes going on, all the crew skills. But yeah, the Somua SM, it is a good tank. It is absolutely not much wrong with it, except for probably how slow it is. But everything else is just pretty damn good, I'd say. So anyway, this is how I was running it. I was running it with food. The other benefit you have with an autoloader, or sort of a benefit, is that you cannot run a gun rammer on it. You can put a gun rammer on an auto reloader, the Italian tech tree, but not the autoloaders. So you will always have vents, which is nice because you'll always have 5% extra crew skills, which again ties in with the whole free range thing because it has 370 base. So once you start running this I also ran it with food, but a recon situation where it's robust arms, you can get up to 463. That's also running it with optics, and this is definitely something you should work towards. Now, if you remove, for example, recon and you remove situational awareness, you're still at 441, so it's decent. And if you have one of the few range skills, you'll have more than enough few range. If you don't run any food though, but you still run recon and situational awareness, you will still have 445 free range, which is exactly what you want. You want 445 at least. And this isn't the benefit of having always vents on your tank. So you don't actually need to run food on this, but an autoloader gets so much more benefits. I feel personally, it's like a weird thing from 10% food than a regular shooting gun. Because like with a regular shooting gun, it shaves off like a millisecond of your reload. But if you have a big reload, it shaves off quite a bit of your reload time then. So if we add food to this, it's now 34:44. And then when you add the strong coffee, it's actually 33 seconds. Which actually feels like a lot. It might not seem like a lot, but somewhere in my head, it just running food and autoloaders just feels so much better. So this is the way I was running it, and this is kind of what you're left with. Then you get a bit more, a little bit less power to weight because you add stuff to it, but it's not that much. And then yeah, it's actually starting to look really good. You have 2.1 aiming time on an auto loading heavy tank, which is really good, and then your dispersion goes down to 35. So yeah, you got a really solid tank on the case here. But anyway, with all that said, let's take a quick look at a replay here, shall we? So we are here on a serene coast, and it's a full tier 8 matchmaking, which is something you'll see every once in a while. I'd say maybe once an hour or so, but it definitely gives you the best feel of the tank when you're facing up against other tanks that are exactly the same tier. And for example, we're also facing off against the single shot M449, which is like our counterpart that everybody already knows with like the weird camo. And there's one without the camo. They also have an FCM50T, which also got buffed, which I might do a review on at some point as well. But yeah, we're just running on Serene Coast, and usually I almost always religiously go to C1. Because I feel like that's usually the better flank to win, and then win the whole game. But considering it was full tier 8, and we have like a VKP coming with us as well, and with an 1815, we have some decent backup that I can hide behind, and there is some cover here. And they also have one artillery, and I feel like a lot of artillery is lazy and goes to C1 right away and aims towards C1 right away because it's an easier thing to shoot for the most part. So I'm hoping by going to this route, which I really don't like fighting here too much, is that I will A, avoid artillery, and B, I can use some of the structures here to actually reload in cover, which I feel like in C1 or D1 is a lot harder to pull off. So yeah, we are here on, well, we call this like Little Italy, I believe, because of how it looks on the map or something. But yeah, we do get the spotting in the STG, I believe, on the left there. And my super brushing has already really hit. The Love is on full health. We have an 1815 coming in. The IS3 is kind of out of position. And the VKP. And this is something I picked up when I was playing. I was like, man, is he really gonna snipe from there? That's gonna be awful for us. But yeah, anyway, we're facing off against an IS6 53 TP, the that's the Polish tier 8, so it's a really, really good tank. And the M449, behind that, there's an ISU who got spotted, a 50 TP and a Yak 88. So I'm kind of looking to see if I can find this ISU. And I end up finding an IS, and I don't want to really fight with that. So the ISU comes up, trying to just shoot him, and then he actually stays. So I'm like, alright, maybe I can track him so my teammates can do something. That second shot was really lucky, by the way. I was going for lower plate, and it hit this other track. So I tracked him again. And then the last two shots are going to be bop. And then somebody else finally hits him, and I finish him off. Obviously, taking out an ISU this early in the fight on such an annoying position, which is another reason why I don't like fighting on this link, is going to be super good for us. And we did get lucky with the second tracking shot. So the 1815 has a pretty good like fight here because his weak spot is on the good side. It's on the inside of the the little corner here. And yeah, like I said, we can kind of reload here fairly safe, and as you can also see, I'm reloading into the APCR here, and it's almost exclusively because I wanted to shoot this Yak 88 right in the face, and I have no issues there. And because now if he's gonna go hold down, I can still shoot through the flat superstructure. So now the I6 comes in, and then he gives me a side shots, and I'm trying to track him again, doesn't really work, and then I try and angle as much as possible. You can see the IS kind of looking to shoot me there, and he's not really making it work. I'm gonna keep my last shot for now, seeing if I can get another tracking shot or so and not be out of the fight entirely. So the IS is coming again, and we're really like fighting shoulder to shoulder, back to back here, and I still have a little bit of room at least. So the IS, I believe, shoots, and the Yak backs off. Then I have an easy shot to the IS6. We finish him off, and then we start the reloading process all over again. So we make pretty damn good use out of our two first clips here. And I'm gonna load into my last APCR clip. I think I roll 3 in total, so 15 shells of APCR, and the rest is AP. And now artillery hits us a little bit. I do use the medikit right away, just because the stun is really annoying against autoloading vehicles. Just for the same reason that running food on autoloaders is so nice. It's also really annoying to get stunned, because the stun process takes like 10 seconds plus, and all those 10 seconds will shave off your reload. So here I tried to do the whole thing where I know I'm gonna get hit anyway, and I just want to trade my entire clip for the shot he put into me. Unlucky though that his reload is so good that he shoots me again. Didn't really calculate for that. I kind of wanted to get shot once and then put a full clip into him and go away. He clearly thought I was out of shots and I still had one left, so he's now a one shot, and it's looking kind of dire because Lorraine died. The VKP is seemingly really passive, but he's finally here. And IS3 is a one shot, 1815 is a one shot, I am a one shot. So yeah, this is quite the party going on. as the IS3 actually gets sniped by a T-44, who was last spotted at C8, and now he's actually already here on low health as well. So everybody's kind of on low health. We're all praying not to get hit by the artillery, and we're just gonna reload into our next clip here. And as you can see, everybody's shooting the gold as well, so I don't feel as bad for shooting the APCR, okay? Listen. But you actually find yourself not dabbing into that APCR too much when playing this tank, to be honest. Especially when you're, you know, in more of like a city fight or something, you kind of pick and choose your battles. But here it's just gold versus gold at the moment. So here I'm just trying to figure out, like, what do I do next? Because both of these people can one-shot me. The M4, I think, has like 320 alpha or so, or around 300, so you can at least high roll and kill me. And we know that the 50B is a big gun at like 490 or something, so he can definitely one-shot us. And we're just trying to get a side shot going here. And I know the M449 is actually stunned, so I'm like, maybe I can kind of risk it, because in a stun, his gun is going to be really inaccurate, right? So we're trying to go, and he just fired as well. You can see the tracer, and I'm just going to use that reload time to actually aim for this weak spot. And we missed the first two, and we hit the last two just before he reloads again. And I'm going to back off right away, trying to not get hit by the artillery, right? So, got a little bit of artillery cover. A little bit. Like, we could probably still get hit, but it's not the easiest shot, at least. So we're going to go for another reload. As you can see, this is going to be most of your bread and butter gameplay, right? You got to make sure that, you know, your clips, you want to at least shoot a bunch of them. So you kind of have to think about how you're going to shoot, right? Shoot after, like, if somebody shoots a teammate of yours, you can roll in and shoot him, like, 2 to 3 to 4 times, right? It's really handy, and this goes for everyone, but especially with autoloaders, it's really nice to know the average reloads of the guns that you're facing. So if you're facing a Rheinmetall with a big gun, and speaking of Rheinmetalls, he just killed our 1815. And we obviously take him out because he's already low health. And then the ISU gets spotted here. Artillery finally dies, and here it's kind of just awkward because I kind of want to clip this ISU, of course, with still 1200 health. But, so I'm just kind of waiting because I'm not sure how much the ISU can see here. But as I was saying, it's really nice to know what the reloads you're facing, because even if you take a hit from like an IS3 for like 390 alpha or so, it's always nice to know. And he just disappears because of like a tree stump, I guess. This is always really nice camo, by the way. But knowing your reloads of your enemies is always good. Is always a good thing to know, and it's something that more veteran players will know by now. And I just get like, all right, I guess the ISU saw me before I saw him because a tree stump was in the way or something. I'm not quite sure. So he takes us out. But at least the team can kind of clean up now, right? So the ISU is going to come in now. I still get a little bit of spotting as well from the artillery hit. And now the ISU, if he gets an average roll, he's going to kill him. So we're good at 750 damage. But like I was saying, if you know the reload, so if an IS3 hits you, but you can shoot him back like 3 to 4 times, they're gonna be really sour at 300 alpha shot. And having 5 shots of 300 damage means that you can clip almost any tier 8 that you'll meet, which is super, super powerful. And you'll do it fairly quick as well. Like, not as quick as like the Skodas at tier 9 and 10, but you'll do it quick. You'll do it quick, you know, quick enough. So anyway, let's take a look here. Post-game stats time. This was finally an ace. This thing was absolutely insane to ace. Like, back when it first came out, I had like 3 games in it where my average XP was like close to 1800, and I didn't even get a 3rd class. That's how insane it was when this thing first came out. So just to give you an indication of how crazy the power level is, right? So we got the ace finally. This is my first ace in it. I had a really funny first class as well that I might upload. And then if you take a look at the team score here, 1532 damage. We did 4k damage, which is not even a lot. Like, I've probably done more and had seemingly more impressive games, but give out way less XP. So I'm not quite sure why that was the case. But this was my first ace, and it was a fairly good game to showcase the clip potential versus your own tier, and you can kind of get a good idea about how the gun handles and how it performs. And we even get to fight the single shot tank as well. And there is like a Halloween event running, and oh my god, I'm just coughing so hard. Anyway, there's a Halloween event going, and there's also a booster. So I got a lot of money for that, but even without the booster, we still would have made like at least 20k or so. Obviously, shooting the 3 APCR clips is going to cost us dearly. And we got 4800 XP as well. So yeah, just as like a closing thoughts on the Somua. I think it's definitely better than the single shot that you can buy. And I still prefer the Lorraine over the Somua, but it's a force to be reckoned with, really. And just like the Lorraine, it just deals with shit matchmaking really well, because you have high base band, you have really nice APCR. Yeah, I can definitely recommend this tank if you're looking to get into the French heavies. Be warned though that the Tech Tree heavy tanks, the 5100, is just worse than this tank, and that the 5120 and 50B are probably not worth the grind. So it is like this tank is worth getting, but the tanks you're gonna use the crew for are not. So it's like a really weird thing. So I don't think I can recommend buying one. I think you're better off with the Lorraine. The Lorraine has way more tanks you can use crew training for as well. So I definitely say get the Lorraine. But if you're literally, if 50 bucks is burning a hole in your pocket and you have to spend it on roll tanks, there's worse ways to spend it than to buy a Somua SM. So yeah. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about the tank. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Like I said, I had a really funny first class in this, and that I might upload somewhere in the same week I upload this little review. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the review of the Somua SM. There's going to be more reviews coming. I have a whole lot of other games. I turned 29 last Monday, October 22nd, and I streamed for like 11 hours. And I got a bunch of games that I want to showcase and review for you guys. So yeah, check out some of my other videos. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.